We are live and we are recording. Welcome, my friends, and welcome back to the
Magnus
Cream
did nothing
Dominion.
wrong.
What? Oh, you thought I did it wrong? All
No,
right.
Magnus. I said
Did
Magnus did
nothing
nothing
wrong.
wrong.
Oh, I think we've had that conversation on this channel before. At any rate, I am Omar Krieg, your host for this, the 7th episode of Warhammer 40,000 Rope Trader Tides of Acheron, Segmentum 2nd of Crowns and Scepters. What are you trying to do? Are you trying to go to the park or are you trying to say you love me?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. You're good. I got you. My son's off camera trying to throw hand and arm signals at me, and I got confused because they were all 100% in my periphery.
Well, tell Justice he needs to play Helldivers again. They're invading Earth.
Oh, don't say that because then he'll just fight me more for trying to take over the computer.
I'll message him myself.
I mean, you can. I don't know when he'll get it. Anyway, this is, of course, our Rogue Trader campaign. I almost said episode randomly for no particular reason. This is our Rogue Trader campaign. Alterios, you need to pick a color, my friend, on the table.
Oh yeah.
I just happened to notice that. And I'm not trying to call you out. So. Yeah,
Well,
it's
later,
been a
yeah.
couple of weeks, so if you notice a little bit of discombobulation right now, a little bit of maybe flabbergastation, I don't know if that's a word either. I'm making up words today. I
Hell yeah.
haven't really streamed a lot in the last 2 weeks because work and other reasons. So, yeah, we're just going to try to do the best we can. And if you enjoy the show, cool. If not, I am so sorry. With me are, of
Well,
course,
we're
my
back,
players.
regardless.
Yeah, either
No,
way,
you're
we're
not.
back and you have to deal with it.
Dealwithit.com.
I am joined, of course, by my wonderful players, Alterios, Rev, Darius, also known as Kami Shinigami,
He called me
and
wonderful.
Warner, Radic, or Take Me to the Hill, or just the other guy on the table.
Yeah, that random.
That rando. We should take a minute to see what's new and exciting for everybody. So, with that in mind, Rev, what's new and exciting for you over the last, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks or however long it's been since we were last here?
Well, I tried installing Skyrim with 4,000 mods, and it did not work as I expected.
Well, when you get over about 1,000 mods, things get a little touchy.
Yeah.
I
I decided.
know
decided
this as a Skyrim player, so
Yeah, there was a giant Uber mod pack, and I was like, "Ooh, let me try that." So I need to figure out what I'm doing wrong, but that's for another day.
Was it Lorem?
Yeah, I was trying to do Lorem and something else at the same
Okay.
time.
I was not
Lorem
aware.
is fucking huge.
It is, but there's another
255. Just throwing it out there.
there's another like hardcore like changes it to be more like Dark Souls mod pack on Mod Nexus.
Was that like 5 seconds too early?
Dark Souls.
It was like probably closer to 3 minutes and 3 seconds too early, but I'm not sure exactly how that works. I'm not monetized anyway, but just it's a joke at this point on my channel that when the first big word comes out, it's usually a timestamp.
I'm sorry. It's
Just
it's
listen. The first time,
vocabulary.
no, I shouldn't say the first time. The record I think is like 30 seconds, give or take. I forget exactly. This is not a record that one should be proud of, by the way. It
I
just
have Maureen
happens
as
to
a best
be the
friend.
record.
It just kind of happens.
It does sometimes. And listen, and I have been accused of using profanity casually, so it's a wonder
What?
I can keep things clean as long as I do. Sorry, Rev, you were trying to talk about Skyrim, and we got totally sidetracked there.
No. I mean, I've sidetracked enough conversations. I can't complain. But no, like, I had a very interesting dinner experience yesterday.
Okay.
One of my neighbors is moving overseas, and they're selling everything and getting rid of most of their stuff. And we said, hey, if you're you barely got anything left in the house, why don't you come over here for dinner? Like, where you're moving to, like, what can you not commonly get there? Let me fix you something. And he's like, well, how about some steaks? Now, this guy normally throws money around pretty liberally, so when he offered to buy the steaks, I said, sure. I have never seen a thinner cut of ribeye in my life, but I still managed to grill it up where it was nice and juicy and had a lot of flavor. But I've got the steaks resting. If anybody knows anything about making steaks, I've got the steaks resting, and they need to do that for about 30 minutes. I'm getting ready to run some squash through a slicer, slice it up thin, and fry it up in some cornmeal. And I've got the oil. I just started heating it, and I get a text, and he says, "Hey, I've got the table set over here, and we're all ready for you." What? He's like,
Oops.
"Yeah, just bring the food over here." I've got some rolls I was about to put in the oven and some squash I was about to fry. Do you want me to just bring all that over there? He's like, "Yeah, sure, you can cook it over here." So I packed several basket full of stuff up and walk it across the street in several armloads and finish cooking the meal at his house because he'd rather eat there.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, it as inconvenient as it might have been, it didn't sound like it was terribly difficult to transplant the cooking location.
My ankles would have liked to not have made those multiple trips.
That's a fair point. My back would have enjoyed not walking the 2 miles straight that I did. But
the fun trip was carefully carrying the hot pan full of melted tallow to keep it from sloshing or spilling.
yes, trying to remember, wasn't tallow like a fat rendered?
Tallow is a rendered purified beef fat.
Okay, that's what I thought it was. So basically, it's grease,
it's beef,
effectively.
It's beef fat that has been stabilized to the point where it's shelf stable.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that would not have been good to slosh all over. Anything else?
No.
All right. Hello, Hashin and Darius, also known as a few other names, although currently on the screen it says Lucian Drazier. But, what do you got for us? What's new and exciting for you? If you're muted.
I was muted,
Okay.
yes. Well, not a whole lot.
Okay.
Just gaming and sleeping and reading.
Yes, I do want to say, did not mean for this to be a public release of information sort of thing, but I do apologize. I missed your message the other night. I think when you were like, "Hey, what are you doing?" I think I was like, "I'm not doing shit, and I'm not gonna change that right now." I don't remember the full context because I don't even remember exactly when that message had come in. I want to say it was like Sunday early evening or something like that. But I was definitely in a mood where I was like, "Yeah, I'm not doing shit, and I don't want to change that." So my apologies for not getting back to you. Yeah, that's
because you reply to me doesn't mean you have to change that.
Yeah, no, I know, and I do apologize because I should have at least said something as opposed to leaving you completely in the dark.
Would have been nice.
Yes, and I do again. I did not mean to do it formally or publicly, but here we are. You got anything else?
Not at this time.
Awesome, Alterios, what do you got for us? What's new and exciting for you, my friend? Nice
Not
shirt,
much.
Darius.
Trying to save Super Earth from the Illuminate.
The Illuminate, the new third faction that I have not yet seen.
You should try it. It's very fun. By fun, it's probably gonna suck.
I did definitely
Your first
take a
couple
stab.
of your son has unlocked a bunch of gears, so we could help you pick the right stuff, and it wouldn't be the end of the world.
No, it wouldn't. And I will say this: the handful of times I played Helldivers,
that was a poor choice of words considering what's happening in game.
I don't.
Earth is being invaded. Millions of people are being killed, and I just said it wouldn't be the end of the world.
It actually sounds like that's exactly what it is. Anyway,
That's great. It starts with an earthquake.
Oh, that's amazing. I definitely did enjoy Helldiver for what it is. It's not exactly my sort of thing.
I think we ruined it when we brought him in on a maximum difficulty.
Yes, that definitely did,
All right,
slant the scale a bit.
If you tell me that you will try it with me sometime in the future, I will start you a little more easily.
I think I have to reinstall the game, to be honest with you. Let me take a look really quick. And I may be limited on room right now because somebody wanted to put Call of Duty on the machine. Yep, I need to reinstall it. Yeah, I won't tell you which 11-year-old that was, but it definitely was not the 48-year-old.
I think it's I think it's Call of Duty that has a bunch of like celebrity avatars that you can play as now.
Yes.
Fortnite also has a Star Wars thing going on. Or
Well, forget
had a
that,
Star
forget
Wars
that.
thing. Yeah,
I
well,
found
I
out-
agree.
I found out that oh, I just forgot his name. Seth Rogen is a playable character in Call of Duty now.
That's amazing. In the holy shit, that's funny.
And apparently there's executions in the game now, like animations for finishing another player off.
Finish him.
And his animation for finishing off the other player is to drop the gun from his hands like he was princess carrying it, fall on the ground, and when it hits the ground, it fires and shoots the other player.
Oh my god, that's amazing. That is so stupid, but that's amazing. Alterios, you got anything else, brother? I don't
No,
even know if you
nothing
even
about it.
let off with anything. Oh, the Illuminate and taking over the Earth. That's where you got. You got anything else, brother?
No.
Okay. Warner, one of like 2 or 3 friends of mine that are sword aficionados. Please, what do you got for us?
I am a sword aficionado,
Yes.
but what I have is not sword related.
That's perfectly fine. I just
My
wanted to make
my
a
parents
random choice.
are moving,
Okay.
and so I've been off and on helping them take some stuff over to the new place, put it in the garage, whatever. The official day for most of that stuff happens tomorrow, so I'm gonna
Today or tomorrow
knock off.
is the move day, huh?
Yeah, tomorrow is the official move day, so I'm gonna knock off work a little early and help them out with that.
Oh, well, good luck. And I mean that. I realize that may have sounded somewhat sarcastic or whatever, and to be totally fair, it may have had some of my typical sarcasm humor on it, but I do mean it in a very serious sense. In that moving can be a pain in the ass, and when you have people helping out, it does help. But there's also, in some cases, a lot of a lot of chiefs and not enough Indians.
Mm-hmm. That can happen.
Which, by the way, for those that may have been offended by my choice of words there, means there's too many people in leadership positions and not enough workers. At any rate, let's see what's new and
There are
exciting for
too
me.
many tribal leaders and not enough Native Americans. You racist son of a
Yeah,
gun.
as soon as I said it, I was like, somebody's going to fucking hate me for that, and I'm okay hating me if you don't like the phrasing. Because honestly, had I thought just a tiny, tiny bit before I said it, I wouldn't have used those words. I would have said what I said the second time. But at any rate,
I thought it was too many chiefs, not enough braves, but yeah.
the same. I mean, the message is the same.
That is pretty much what it is.
Yeah. I mean, we've all been there. Listen, I think everybody at this table has moved at least once in their life, and it's been a big move. And in my experience, as retarded as this may sound, as not helpful as this should sound from one partner to another, I usually let one of the ex-wives take control, because I was like, nope, I'm just gonna move shit with everybody else. You tell me what you want moved, because I'm not gonna. Nope. If I have to start making decisions and they don't line up with your decisions, then there's beef between us, and that's not gonna help any of us get our stuff from point A to point B. So I'll be the bigger person and shut my pie hole and make stuff move.
Someone who moved as much as a military brat. Mom normally knows what's packed in which boxes.
Yeah, that
Yes.
too. Yeah, honestly. And in my
For
experience,
reals.
as the guy in those relationships, I'm just like stuff in box. I don't care what's in what box.
You don't
Stuff for-
coordinate your boxes by room, you absolute heathen.
No, I don't care. Listen, my idea of packing. Listen, if the garbage bag was resilient enough to hold the weight of the items inside the garbage bags would be the best way to do it. Why? Because they don't conform to a solid shape. Now, that's not always as helpful as that might sound, because boxes usually stack nice and neat. But
You've
we
never
also
moved
Tetris.
You've never moved glassware, have you?
No, I would not. No, glass definitely has to go in a box. I'm also being a little bit facetious there. Speaking of moving, let's get into our show. Previously, wait, somebody was trying to interrupt.
I was trying to have a question, but if you want to do your intro first, go
No,
ahead.
please ask your question.
No, after you.
No, please ask your
Okay,
question.
Canadians, someone go first.
Sorry, no, sorry.
So my question is you said there's going to be limitations on what's available. So like, what is the rarity cap? I'm assuming that's how you're
It's
handling it.
honestly, so I think we talked about this briefly previously as a group.
We
I
did.
think we basically agreed. We didn't really set any like hard conditions or limits. It was more or less up to my discretion. If you wanted, I don't know, a freaking what's the next step up from a las rifle? A plas cannon or a plasma gun? No, hell gun. That's it. You know, for some reason, hell guns just aren't made on this planet. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I mean, I was gonna go a little bit looser than that because.
Well, I'm saying let's just to keep it simple and not have you having to ask about a million different options.
Mhm.
Would maybe the easy thing is to set a rarity level. So it's like very rare.
Let's go with very rare, and then still have the caveat of let me approve or disapprove,
Okay.
if
All
that
right.
makes sense. Just to keep things relatively fair.
So like extremely rare is right off the table. Okay.
yeah.
Shoot.
All right, so we have. My understanding is. Oh wait, let me do the previously on. Previously on Tides of Acheron of Crowns and Scepters. The Acheron Sphere has arrived at Regius, the throne world for the Vambrese domain, and our explorers have been received and accepted. After discussing a number of problems while in meeting with the Council of Lords, Brogadillo has been coronated and named Lord of the Domain. With much rejoicing and gift-giving, the stage is now set for the newly crowned prince to assume the mantle of leadership and to tackle the array of problems and concerns before him. And the first problem and or concern before him is spending his money in the form of acquisition rolls.
Money.
I will let you take not so much the reins, but definitely some creative control here. What would you like to purchase, and what sort of arguments would you like to make?
Does anybody not know what they want to get? Because I do have a list of like some things for the crew potentially.
Well, I'm at the point that I actually want the Hellgun rifle.
I thought you had one. Am I crazy? No, wait. Those are two
That's
separate
me
No,
and
things.
I have-
Alterios.
I
Okay.
have the pistol.
Okay, do you have the training for it? I forget exactly what it's called.
Basic.
I should
Is it
at the
basic?
end of this. I should at the end of this session.
He's basic.
Is basic what the talent is for the Hellguns?
Yeah.
Well, it
Yeah, universal.
Universal training basic or something like that?
Basic weapon training universal.
There you go. I had the words in roughly the wrong order. Okay. If you would like to
what
purchase,
rarity is that?
I'm sorry.
I'm just
Hellgun?
curious what rarity that is. Yeah.
What's above rare? Or I mean, not rare. What is
I
that?
figured it was very rare, but I wasn't sure.
I'm guessing because I feel like it would be like it's not common, but it's not going to be terribly difficult to acquire.
it is starting tech for a number of things.
Yeah.
It is rare.
What is Oh, it's on the weapons page table rather.
Yes.
What the
Weapons
heck?
table is on page 120s.
So on page 118 of the core book,
There we go. Yep,
I
there's the
see.
master table.
Hellgun,
Hellgun
Lucius
is
pattern,
under-
basic, availability, rare.
Rare.
Cool.
Okay, yeah, I can live with that. I think your basic Hellgun Hell pistol should be available here on Regius Prime, part of the Regius output.
Now, does anybody? I guess my first question is: does anybody want a recommendation for something, or has everybody got something in mind?
I've got something in mind. It's the thing
Okay.
I couldn't get last time.
It was like
you're
some
gonna-
armor or
Wait,
something,
wait.
wasn't it?
Yes.
Um,
I forget exactly what it was, but
I was
Light
like,
power
how-
armor.
I was gonna say light power armor master crafted. That's more than rare.
It's
isn't
very
it?
rare. Light
Okay.
power armor is very rare. Now the
Uh,
master crafted might be
I think
hard to
the
get,
light powered armor standard might be available at the table listed for. Hold on, let me rephrase. Let me think about how I want. Having the master crafted is going to be one rarity higher, correct? Is that how it
no.
works?
It has its own modifier, but it doesn't change the rarity.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Okay, so I think with that in mind, then I think the
If
power
you want
armor-
to say
but
that I can get the power armor, but I have to get a craftsman to,
tweak
custom
it
fit
later.
it and all that jazz.
Yeah,
then
and that
I can be down with that.
and that particular service is not available in the domain. Getting someone to customize power armor, tailor fitting your power armored tuxedo, sir, that's not a thing here. You'll have to go back to the Imperium for that.
Blast and confound.
I'm sorry. I know I'm crushing hopes and dreams over there.
I'll figure something else out.
Now that said, actually, here's what I'll do. If you want the custom or the master crafted, you don't get the +10 blanket that everybody's getting. Does that make sense? To signify that it is a much more that maybe you'll find the one dude has a dusty, crusty shop in the back end of somewhere, that maybe sells
I can
body
live with
parts
that.
in order to make these things happen for you.
I can live with that.
Okay. This will become a running gag of how I'm going to just tweak the numbers every week.
This will
until you
become the
finally
running
get
gag
it.
of how Warner never gets his power armor.
Yes.
But that's okay.
Yes. Well, it's good content. It's a good story. If you want to make your roll now, please. I would never tell you not to roll for it. Actually, I probably would. That's a different story.
So while he's rolling, Altrios, did you have something in mind? Were you going to upgrade the? I know there's
What
some
are we
things
looking at for that, by the way?
that we
Can't
need for the
remember.
combat servitor.
No, he's got a heavy bolter already.
Right, but he's got a fist on the other hand. And I didn't know if you wanted to get him like a motion predictor to like increase the accuracy of it, or
Yeah.
Warner, what are we looking at, by the way, for your target
So
number?
very rare is -20.
Okay. So 38.
Best is -30.
8.
Scale being negligible is +30.
38.
And then I'll spend a fate point for a +10 to make it 48.
That's actually a pretty decent odds, especially for something so rare and customized.
I thought you had
48.
to roll a 28 last time. What changed?
No, I had to roll a 38 because I didn't
38
spend
sounds.
the
Yeah.
Okay.
the fate point.
Yeah.
This time I'm spending to get the +10.
Okay. I just
But he's spending a fate point to get the +10 that he otherwise would have gotten.
If I had done it ahead of time last time, I would have gotten the freaking stuff.
He probably, I think he
Sorry.
would have, yeah.
All right, so rolling away.
That does not look like
Damn you.
successful. Would you like to re-roll, sir?
Yes, I would like to re-roll.
I will remind you that we are probably having combat against orcs soon.
More importantly, there's a trip in the war coming very soon to a starship near you. That was really bad. I'm sorry. I'm gonna roll that stupid joke back. We're gonna pretend I never said that.
Hell yeah!
Hell yeah, 18. All right, you got yourself some well-fitted light power armor.
Yeah.
just in time for a
the
trip into the
best
war.
crafted light power armor.
Oh, you went best crafted, not master crafted. That's the difference.
Well, it's the best.
Oh, okay, okay.
Best crafted, not good crafted.
Okay, I thought you meant good. I'm sorry.
Who's next? Alterios, I think you had an idea, or maybe Brev was trying to get an idea from you.
No, I'm not trying to tell anybody what to do.
Really? That's weird. I'm sorry. I said that out loud. I apologize.
Yeah.
I am full of snark today, in case you couldn't tell.
I'm sorry, who's the Lord Captain?
Don't know anymore. All I know is I'm the GM. So.
Okay, I am
I'm
telling
sorry,
everyone what
guys.
to do
I
on
really
the
am
table.
in a snarky mood. Please continue.
I am telling everyone what to do on the table in terms of being the Lord Captain, but like I'm not going to yuck anybody's yum if there's something they want to buy.
I got you. I'm being a very sarcastic individual right now, which I know is a total surprise for everyone.
So, do you want to try and get that the hell gun? I guess you can go if Alterios is still deciding.
Yeah.
Go ahead and go, Jace.
Best crafted hell gun.
All right, what are we looking at for target numbers?
Well, the +30, -30 cancel each other out.
Correct. So we're back to
And
58.
then you said the
68.
rarity was very rare?
Hellguns are
just
just rare.
Just
They're
rare.
simply rare.
And rare is what, -20?
Should be
No.
-10, I think. Let me just check real quick.
Listen, I'm not going to call the number exactly. I know I'm in the
Rare is
ballpark.
-10.
Okay, so yeah, back down to 58.
So, no. -10 and +10 cancel each other out.
Right. The minus 30
Oh,
plus 30.
yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah. Everything that you're losing is being
Minus
canceled out.
30 plus 30 and minus 10 plus 10.
Yep. So you're back to 58. Or whatever
Yeah.
your profit factor. It is 58, right? Yep.
Yeah.
Correctamundo.
And then I will spend a fate point to make it 68.
As one does.
And I think that's all the modifiers.
Do it. Push the button. Roll the dice. Do it. Nice. Holy shit, a single digit number.
Wow.
Yeah, well, you got yourself a nice little hell gun there. Congratulations. You guys are now walking tanks and highly damage output units. Rev, Alturios, what do we got?
I think I'm going to try and grab a plasma gun.
Don't you already have one? I thought you did. Am I?
I have a
Mhm.
bolter and a hell gun.
Maybe that's where I'm
I
getting
have the
confused.
plasma gun,
Yes. Okay.
but mine is a special plasma gun too.
Yes, it's mounted on your shoulder or something silly.
No,
like
it
that,
is
right?
not mounted on my shoulder. You're thinking
I'm the one
Rev.
with the shoulder mount.
Or should I get a Melta? Meltas are funny, but I don't know if I need special training for a Melta.
I think the Melta you might, but don't quote me. Go look it up.
It depends on the Melta.
Some Meltas do need special training, yes.
I see some of them need heavy, which I can't get, but the other ones are just basic. But I don't
Can
know
you?
if that's like
If you have,
basic.
I think so. Flame weapons is a thing, and
Meltas are not flame.
No, it's
Right,
either
that's what I'm
it's
saying.
Work
it's
on different
it's
rules.
heavy. It's the heavy
no,
is
no,
the
I was gonna
different
say
one.
flame weapons are a thing, but I don't think Melta. I think Meltas are just considered basic. Is what I was in the
Yeah,
process. of saying.
if
Well,
you
it's-
have
it-
basic universal, you can use basic stuff.
Yeah, it's looking like basic pistol or heavy, and then obviously universal probably throws in there somewhere for.
Oh, the range on that Melta is terrible. I forgot Meltas are close range.
Yes, they
I
are.
forgot you have to
They are
walk up to
indeed.
the tank in order to
Isn't
kill
there
it.
a Melta sniper in the Into the Storm book?
There might be.
That might be that's the multi-Melta, and that's a heavy weapon.
That's That's
That's only
No.
60.
when
It's
I
not
hear the
something-
word multi, I'm thinking like it sits on a turret on top of a vehicle, or maybe on the side of a
Beamer
vehicle.
Melta gun is basic.
Is that into the
Its
storm?
range is 40 meters, which is not
Yeah.
exactly
shabby.
long range.
I mean, you
but
could shoot
it
out at
is-
80 meters and before you have range penalties. It's not horrible.
I was trying to
That's-
find something with a 2d10 because orcs tend to be.
Yes, they do
Tough.
tend to soak a lot of shit coming at them. Those little bastards.
The beamer is 2d10 plus 6 energy, 12 pen. Clip of 6.
It's the
Oh,
it's the
man.
pin. It's
Holy
the pin
fuck.
that makes it.
Yeah, that's what melters do. Melters.
No, I know. I've just never seen the straight or the stat in a conscious, aware moment like now. When you said pen 12, I'm just like, holy fuck.
Yep.
Forget all of your armor, and then the guy next to you. His armor is not going to help you either. Jesus.
He
I'm
doesn't
sorry.
believe in weakness.
Yeah, I really hope your toughness is good. The orc's like, well, shit, I have no armor now. It's a good thing I'm an orc. I mean, they would have been said with like a Cockney accent.
They
but
have
you get the idea.
toughness out their butts.
They fucking do. They have a stat specifically that says basically double the standard toughness. And then they have a lot of toughness.
I think I'll go for the plasma. I don't really feel like getting within spitting distance of
Within
orcs.
melter range? That sounds
Yeah.
dangerous. That sounds like an orc charge about to happen.
Now, if you want to do plasma and basic, I forget what the rarity is. There is a.
There
It's
are
very rare.
several.
it's very rare for the plasma.
No, it's
gun.
it's extremely rare, so you can't afford it. I was gonna say there is a potentially better
Oh.
plasma rifle.
Talking about the one I got?
Yep.
The Clovis pattern.
Oh, is that in the Into the Storm
Is
too?
it Into the Storm? I forgot Into the Storm had its own extended.
It's the Into the Storm's got a bunch of stuff in it.
It does indeed.
You could get a blunderbuss. Icarus.
I was thinking like on
Don't,
that note, I
it's-
was
it's not
thinking
2d10.
grenade launcher, but I think you have to have like oodles of grenades. I don't know if being a walking explosive would be a good idea either.
An orc charges you with a machete. that he
Hit
calls
all of your
that he
grenades.
calls a
They all go
chopper.
off.
And
I know there is a underslung grenade launcher attachment that's mentioned for a couple of weapons
I'm not sure if a
that
Hellgun
fires
has that.
grenades.
Well, what are we looking at here?
There is a
Alterios?
grenade launcher that's considered basic, so you wouldn't need heavy for that one.
I'll just take the Mendoza pattern plasma gun, which is very rare,
Bazoa.
and roll for that.
Very
Yeah.
rare individual. I think those two cancel each other out. Or maybe very rare is plus 20. I don't have that chart open. I'm looking at the weapons chart.
I thought we had it on the fucking table.
No, I have the difficulties. I don't have the rarities. Although I should actually add that since we do that.
I have
time
that
to
image
time.
clipped if you want me to send it to you.
Yeah, actually yes, if you would, because then I can just.
Give me just a second.
I don't know if I want to do that right now because I just have to flip this.
Well, you don't have to put it on the table right now, but I can send it to you on Discord for your convenience.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that, and then I'll
so-
add it to the table after the fact.
It's the availability or the other that you don't have.
Well, I just at the moment I don't have the rarity, which I guess is the availability. Is that the same thing, right?
Here,
Basically I don't have the list of modifiers for making acquisitions rolls open at the moment because I'm on the weapons table in the book.
That should be on the great big F-off chart that Rev made for us.
It is, but I'm cutting it out specifically for you to have a little separate section if you want to put it on the table.
I will.
There we go.
When you have the time to do that, and I had the time to slap it onto the table. What page is that on, by the way? Since somebody I'm sure has
It's on two separate pages, so
Thanks, GW.
there is the availability and the rarity compiled into one table.
Got it. Get that after the fact. All right, Alterios, let's go ahead and make your roll, please. Let's crunch numbers first, obviously. What are we looking at here? We start with a 58. It's very rare. You're getting one. It's so weird to see your cursor move around because it looks like it's spastic.
Now, on the table I sent you, I can edit it later. But one thing I've wished it had is how many is considered negligible, how many is considered trivial, how many is considered minor, etc.
Oh, for the different scales or whatever.
Because trivial, I think, is like 5.
I think so, yeah.
And then minor, I can't remember how many it is.
Yeah, because after the first two, it starts basically going based off of size for a unit, like a military unit.
A multiplier.
Yeah.
Rather than a linear scale.
Right. All right, Alterios, I hate to keep pestering you. What are we looking at here?
I wasn't sure what I needed.
You have a 24. It sounds like you probably got it. Yeah, I'm gonna roll and then do the math, and then I'll figure out if I need fate points. I'm gonna do this in totally the wrong order.
I don't know if it's your character, but in the future, I think it calls it a cannon, but because this just totally seemed like something a tech priest would have. It's a lightning cannon. I'm pretty sure it's a basic weapon. I could be thinking of something different, but it shoots arcs of electricity at, and that just seems like something.
That's a good question. Would that fit Icarus? Is he a tech priest or is he more of a tech guy? I don't know if that even made any sense the way I said it. Yeah, well, then we don't have to explore that right now. Rev, it's up to you now. What would you like to purchase, sir?
Well, I'm going to purchase, and this is why I needed to check the numbers. Warner, you typically pulled up this page quicker than I can find it. Where it has the different numbers, where does it say what the numbers are for trivial and minor and standard?
So trivial is plus 20, minor is plus 10,
No.
standard is plus 0.
How many items, and what page are you on, just so I can take a peek at it?
How many items is considered trivial? How many items is considered minor?
Let me go bring that up. That should be in the acquisitions.
And what page is that, just so I can take a look at it myself?
Now, we already purchased man-stopper rounds for the assault stubbers for our troops, right?
As I recall, yes.
Okay. So
That's
I'm going to go ahead.
271. Close enough.
So
So
the
trivial is a squad, so 3 to 5, and minor is a platoon 10 to 30.
Okay.
Standard is a company 50 to 100.
I want to go for minor.
Okay, so that's up to about 30 or so.
Right.
And then
So
plus
modifiable-
10, 10 to 30.
Okay. So plus 10, it's going to be an item that it's I don't think it comes in other craftsmanships. I forgot to double check that. So it's minus 10. So that's very rare, makes it minus 10. The planetary bonus makes it 0.
Well, very rare is minus 20.
But with the minor, which is plus 10,
Yes, yeah, you're at a net
makes
minus
it
10.
minus
now.
10, and then we have the planetary bonus makes it 0.
Yep.
Is
You're
there
still
another
at 58.
aside? So I still have the craftsmanship modifier.
Yes.
But if I'm Warner, help me out here. I don't remember anything about if I'm looking for an actual physical shield. I was gonna get those riot suppression shields with a shock thing. It's in the Into the Storm, I think. I
Into
don't
the
remember
Storm?
any. I don't remember any bonus for shields themselves as far as craftsman bonus. I would think since it provides armor, it would be the same as an armor craftsman bonus of
Like half the weight and 1 extra point of armor or something like that. I
right.
think
But
is
I'm
what
not
it
sure I
is.
want to go for.
I'm looking. Combat shield is technically in the melee weapons section.
It's suppression shield.
Oh, suppression shield.
And I've lost track of where that was. I made a copy onto another sheet.
That might be in the core book. Let me check that real quick.
Let me look on the. I'm looking. I might can get a clue as to where it is by looking on the sheet. See if it listed under. What it listed under. Let's assume it's melee weapons.
Suppression shield is on.
It's
in the
it's
table.
listed-
It's
It's
120.
under shock weapons in whichever
Yep.
book it's in.
Yeah, it's
Shock weapons.
Yeah,
All
I'm
right.
looking at the table right now. So, suppression shield, rare, and then description. Suppression shields have.
Yep, that's Into the Storm.
Yes, it is.
Yep, I'm looking at it right now.
And then,
Tarsus pattern suppression shield.
Okay, so
Designed with
just
lock
out of
grips,
curiosity, should
blah,
we ever
blah,
want to
blah.
look at it later? I'm probably just going to get common for now. But if we wanted to get master-crafted suppression shields, what would we be looking at for a bonus on that? Because it's technically a melee weapon, but it's also armor.
well, let's see. Provides
Based
plus,
on the stuff I'm seeing, it's in the weapon table, so it counts as a weapon, so it would get the plus 10 to weapon score to swing it at stuff, not the plus
yeah,
1 armor.
which we don't really. We just need I'm getting it for the extra armor for the troops.
You know what? Unless we find something different, I can say instead of the +4, it's a +6 for Mastercraft. Unless we find something that can supersede that.
Well, it'd be a +5 if it was
For
rolling with the
Mastercraft?
standard.
Oh, with the standard
So
augmentation or whatever.
good armor gets a +1 to the very first thing shot at it. Best gets a +1 all the time flat.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, I can live with that with +5 instead of +4.
Mm-hmm.
I was definitely making up some shit there. So I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I do it all the time, but
Be more generous than I would be as a GM.
I think the reasonable thing to do there is just, given the roll potential, is just say it's a regular. They're regular shields. I'm just trying to get shields for our special squad.
Special boys.
And one of the reasons that I want this is the other shields have a penalty. This shield, you can take a basic weapon and it has a lock-in position for the basic weapon.
Yes, it does.
So you can have the shield protecting you and fire the basic weapon without penalty.
Because you get the 2 weapon penalty without having the appropriate advantages. Or
no,
whatever.
you just get like a -10 to having the shield in your hand because
it has the recharge quality.
Yeah, they can shock stuff when it gets close. I thought that might be
During the
another
rounds,
difference.
it loses the shocking quality. It gains the primitive quality.
Right. But that's, I think the primitive quality, the only thing with that, unless I'm mistaken, is it doesn't get, or it's more prone to getting broken by something with, that is like balanced, or it's, I don't remember.
I thought the only thing of shocking is if they're using it in a riot function, hitting something with it, they can do more damage, and otherwise they just do regular damage while it recharges.
It gets the primitive quality, is what it says in the text.
Right,
And
but
the
what I'm saying
primitive
is,
quality, all armor points are doubled against hits from primitive weapons, unless the armor also has the primitive quality.
So a weapon without primitive is more effective when it's in primitive. Right? Did I understand that right? Did I phrase it right?
No, so
Other way around.
Okay.
if a weapon is primitive,
Mm-hmm.
then all armor points are doubled.
right,
Against it.
but against it, well,
Unless the armor also has the primitive quality.
Gotcha. Okay.
but they're
So
not.
if you're wearing like leathers, that counts as primitive armor. A primitive weapon is going to be just as effective against that as anything else.
Right.
But
But
if
a
they're wearing
standard
carapace,
weapon would double the damage, or
you're backwardsing. This is considered a weapon, not armor, technically. So when it talks about switching from primitive and not, it's talking about what it does damage to, not the damage
Yes.
taken by it.
Okay.
So it's
Correct.
still, the armor value of it does not change whether it loses the shock value or not. The damage it does changes whether it has the shock trait currently or not.
Okay. I think that made sense. I'm not going to try to reiterate it though, because I'm going to fuck
Okay.
it up.
Does anybody disagree with what I just, with the way that I
I'm
expressed
gonna
it?
roll with it.
No, I'm asking Warner if he has particularly if he has a different interpretation of what I just said.
I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing any particular.
It's not like when the shock field goes down and it just becomes a blunt object that it suddenly takes more damage from oncoming fire.
Yeah, I could definitely see the.
Because it's not a power shield, it's simply got a.
It has that shocking quality.
I'm actually now reading the thing on page 138 of the core textbook, where it says primitive armor.
But it's a
Primitive
weapon.
armor values are halved against non-primitive weapons.
But the armor is fixed. The primitive trait is specifically referring to the fact that it's a melee weapon. And can be used as such.
Right. I'm hearing what you're saying.
Because the armor value is not part of it's not an armor item. The armor is just intrinsic to where it's being worn.
Yeah, I could definitely see this is definitely a weapon with the added bonus of having protective qualities.
Yep. In fact, the combat shield up further in the thing says some combat shields are crafted out of ceramite or adamantium. They count as 2 steps rarer. And if I look at the combat shield being common, and then I look at the suppression shield being rare, that's got the steps. So, and in the suppression shield, it doesn't mention anything about its armor value. So.
And yeah, the armor protection it gives is listed in the text, not on the table.
Plus 4 AP.
Yep.
So
to the arm and torso.
Alternatively, just for the future, Omar, should I decide to buy, could I up the armor value if I have it made out of something like ceramite?
Yeah, I would. To me, that would make
rarity,
sense.
Obviously, but that's for later down the line.
Yeah,
I'm just curious if that's a potential option for later if I want to buff these.
I could see that being an option. I
Okay.
may make you acquire the, I don't know, let's say 5 pounds of, I'm sorry, 3 kilos of ceramite.
Couple like
per shield.
If I'm making 30 shields, a ton might not be.
A ton might not be a bad number to shoot for, yeah. Because obviously you're going to lose some in the construction process.
And it's heavy. Like a ton is not going to be that many ingots.
Yeah, it's going to be like a handful. I don't know. Anyway, yeah. Anyway, I think. Are you not looking at a 58 base here?
I think so.
Because I think, much like the previous roll, all the penalties are canceled by the advantages, or
I
vice
think so.
versa.
It's just rare like the Hellgun with no. But wait a minute, his is best crafted. How is his if he got best crafted Hellgun and I'm getting because I'm getting more, right?
Yeah, because he got the one versus
Dumb
the.
confusion. I apologize.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess just a zero roll here. Sorry for the long time figuring that out.
Yeah.
I was trying to debate between that and motion predictors for everyone. Meaning
Motion predictors are pretty boss.
What are they, like a +10 to your attack roll or something like that?
Yeah.
Being as that we're fighting orcs, the armor might be valuable.
I think both of them are going to be valuable, depending on how many orcs there are.
Well, depending, because he's talking about for our troops, not
Yeah.
necessarily for us.
Now, by the
And-
way, as many as I'm getting, if anybody is only wielding one basic weapon and your other arm is free, you can absolutely have one of these shields.
I guess that would make sense as part of your quasi bulk purchase, that there would be enough left over for those that might want.
Well,
to
that's
grab one for
specifically why
themselves.
I'm going for the 30 and
Yeah.
not the
Yeah.
5 or 10.
Yeah.
I'm trying to have enough to equip all of the main party and our retinue as well, should anyone want.
Ooh, you're gonna want to fate point that, aren't you?
Yeah, I am.
That was
really
100. Have we gotten
is.
100 before? I don't think we have.
Once. I think Warner rolled 100 one time.
Warner might
I
have.
did.
And
It was
no
absolutely disappointing.
no suppression
Nope.
shields for you. That's gonna be a bit of a challenge. All right, that is it for acquisition rolls. Am I right?
Yep.
Okay. Earlier I did mention something about acquisition rolls and then the warp, but I did forget a crucial thing that has to happen before that. Well, by has to happen, I mean you wanted to do this. Lord Captain, you are reminded by your seneschal that you have, while not necessarily a hard penciled in or even inked in appointment, that the next item on your agenda prior to leaving to Vitamar was to go see the so-called Hildemas Oracle, or the Oracle of the Void. It's the same person, just to be clear.
Mm-hmm.
Should you decide to skip this sequence, it is, of course, your choice, but needless to say, the Oracle is, as an Oracle would, expecting you.
I will go see the Eldari seer at my earliest convenience.
He's not Eldari. And I'm going to tell you why he's not an Eldari in just a second. Let me take this drink real quick.
Nyan did go immortal 20 years.
Okay. So
It's just a genetic trait that my forehead is long and sloping.
Yes. Who goes with you? And before you answer that, I want you to remember that, or keep in mind that you are going to hop on a suborbital flight to another part of the planet, to an island off of the main continent. When I say island, of course, I don't want you to think like the Hawaiian Islands. I want you to think of something like Australia-sized island. Subcontinental size.
Okay. Is it going to be an easy journey, or are there known risks between point A and point B?
I mean, no more than air sickness. Or motion sickness, I should say.
So we're going to land right outside the camp of this person, right?
More or less, yes.
Okay.
So what it'll be is, this island, of course, is heavily forested, the Hildemas tree that has this, this healing sap or what have you. Towards the center of the island, where it's artistically cool to not be centrally located, that was difficult, is, of course, something of a clearing, and it is this clearing that you arrive at. Now, who is accompanying you on this flight and as you land and as you step off the shuttle?
I assume I'd be there.
Are you bringing everybody with you?
I don't know why I wouldn't.
Okay. Once you are within about 100 meters of this cave,
I'm probably even bringing the honor guard to form a security perimeter in the woods.
Yeah, absolutely. We're gonna full on Endor, Sanctuary Moon of Endor this.
I'm also probably directing anybody that's got some free time to collect some of this dead gum healing sap that just got referenced.
Well, unfortunately, it's not allowed. The short version is one, you need to be what's the Warhammer 40K version of certified, unionized, and contractually obligated.
What's the Warhammer version of this is the planet that I own?
Okay, that's a fair point. However, it is further pointed out that just withdrawing the sap from the tree is not enough to make the sap a healing agent. That there's a few other mechanical processes or things that I can't think of the right words for.
He's totally calling you a sap. Are you going to take that?
Get back in the shuttles. We're making a straight up trip to the ship. We are bombing this location from orbit.
Wow, really?
I roll for it.
I rolled for it, it happened. I rolled for it, it happens. Right up there in the same category.
I'm the pilot.
Damn. Well, you totally missed and just vaporized what little ocean water there was.
Hell yeah. We need that water anyway.
Okay.
So I guess I'm intrigued by the healing sap. I'm slightly irritated that I've been snubbed, and I'm definitely
I'm gonna be clear with you. You're being snubbed on the sap because I didn't have that mechanic in place. I should have, but I didn't. But please continue.
The others sort of like they can accompany me or not, but the ones who are at least coming to close to the seer are Winter and Reinhardt.
Okay.
I want Reinhardt for obvious reasons,
Yep.
and I want Winter because I want to know what kind of psychic weirdness we're dealing with if she can be helpful in identifying what on earth this is.
Okay. Well, the Oracle's home is on the island, deep in a forest, and there is basically a cave at the foot of a hill.
It's a miracle sorcerer.
I mean, just imagine, something
Miracle
from like
Max.
I was gonna think like Arthuriana, like
Who?
if you watched like the movie Excalibur from the 1980s.
I did not.
Oh, it's a great movie. You really should.
I may not
watch
have
it.
been.
It
born
is a
yet.
good movie.
As ridiculous as some of it is, it's a really good movie, and it also is an early appearance of Sir Patrick Stewart and Liam Neeson.
Oh, was that the one where he still had hair?
I believe so. Yeah. At any rate, you once you get within about 100 meters of the cave, there is nothing at all that grows. It's just dirt and rock, and then of course the cave itself. Outside the cave, this individual sits upon a large rock, poking at the remnants of a small campfire.
Well, before we go into the cave, I would be asking Winter if she knows of any psychic phenomenon that caused the death of everything around it.
Great question. She takes a moment as you approach, and I want you to imagine you guys approach. You get to like the edge of this clearing, and you do like a Winter. Why is nothing growing here? And she's like, "One moment, Lord Captain." I almost said Star Captain. I have no idea why. One moment, Lord Captain.
Because we were just talking about Patrick Stewart.
Maybe that's why. And she does her little reach out into the force sort of thing that Warhammer 40K does. That is absolutely not at all synonymous with anything from Star Wars. And she gives you a look of somewhat perplexed, like, I don't know why nothing grows here.
I asked her
very
if there's
odd.
any sort of. I would be asking about if there's any sort of life leeching potential within warp sorcery.
I think the response you get is that the warp influences a lot here, but not specifically in a malignant sort of way. That this is in a warp sort of way, almost hallowed ground, sanctified ground, maybe in a weird sort of way. Hashin, to answer your question, the short version, yes. I just had not actually put anything like that in place.
Okay, so I want to question your choice of words above the table.
Sure,
because
absolutely.
If you just said this is hallowed ground of the warp, the only gods in the warp that would
Yes.
have hallowed ground are chaos, and I'm
tracking.
about to burn this place to the ground.
I'm tracking. I want to point out more heavily on the non-malignancy side. So I understand in Warhammer 40K lore that you're right. The only gods that are in the warp, or that the warp would be related to as far as anything godly is, of course, the chaos gods. I think what
And potentially the Primarchs.
Right. So what you're getting here is a sense of this ground has been touched by the warp, not necessarily in a chaos or malignant way. That maybe
Okay.
at one point in time, because if you remember in the lore, at one point in time, the warp really wasn't as chaotic, evil, mindfuckery bullshit as it is now.
Before the war in heaven.
Yes.
Yeah, like before humanity existed as a species.
Yes. So this
So-
might
So
be
we would not know about that.
correct. You would not understand that.
If my top psychic advisor just told me this is hallowed ground of the warp, I would have no choice but to think chaos based off what my character would know. So I'm asking if that's the wording you actually want.
No,
to use.
I think the wording that she would use is probably closer to there is warpiness here, but it doesn't appear to be dangerous.
I'm okay with malignant. Like there's nothing.
Yeah. Like the
Okay, so-
malignancy is not as concerning as it might otherwise be.
But there's elements of the chaos gods that don't appear to be malignant. But if you use the term hallowed and chaos,
Yes.
in the
Oh no,
same
I
sentence,
agree. I may have chosen
I'm
very
melting
poorly
this
my
place.
words.
that's why I wanted to say above the table. Let me clarify.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because if she actually says that, we're about to genuinely melt the place for more.
Yeah, no, I
Um,
totally agree with that prognosis. But no, like it's I want you, the player, to consider this to be something like hallowed ground that maybe in a way that only the players would understand, but not the characters. That once upon a time this was touched by the warp before the warp got fucked.
Okay.
This is a
So we're,
and I think how that would also translate to from what Winter is picking up and how she conveys it to you that this is an ancient place.
okay, so we're back to elves. All right, I'm going in.
We're back to space elves, everybody. Wrap it up.
Anything you can do, they can do better.
Yep.
If so good, why not have Empire?
If so good, why
Giant-
Empire shaped?
Birth of Chaos God from decadence of said empire.
As you come closer to the old man, I want to point out he does not have pointy ears whatsoever. He does have shambling, ratty, stereotypical robes, gray in color, and yes, he is sitting on a rock, poking at a fire with what appears to be a gnarled wooden staff that looks like it matches the same kind of wood of the trees around you, the Hildemoss
Short,
trees.
withered, poking a fire with a stick. You've just given us 40K, Yoda. Thank you very much.
It's not. I want to be clear. He's not 3 feet tall though, or green, and he
could
knows how
call
to
him
form a
not
sentence
pointy
correctly.
ears.
Yeah,
You
and
could-
no
you
pointy
could
ears.
call
He
him
knows how to
a,
speak.
You could call him a gray seer.
Yes. And he simply watches you as you approach.
No Skaven fans.
He likes to watch.
Yeah, weapons are holstered.
Okay.
I'm probably giving whatever hand signal I have with Reinhardt to hold position as I walk forward.
All right.
He can clearly see what's happening and be of protection if he's in eye shot range.
Yeah,
That's
you're.
just-
I got quick guard.
Everybody's in the open.
And I just picked up the what's it called? Rapid reaction talent.
Unless he's got a boom vest under those robes, then
A
you
boom
might be in
vest.
trouble.
Well, you're talking to somebody who's either been busy enough or had enough computer trouble that I forgot to level my character last week. So hey,
That's okay. So to be clear, you are approaching him to have a small one-on-one conversation. Winter and
Yes.
Reinhardt are hanging back a little ways.
I would probably signal or have already told Winter to sort of stay with Reinhardt and call out if she senses anything
Yep.
untoward.
Okay. At which point, as you approach the old man, he simply waves you into the cave, standing up and more or less moving to follow you. You know, effectively inviting you to go into the cave, and he's going to follow in behind you.
Okay.
Do you
with
step
me.
into the cave?
And
Yes.
you'll be
Okay.
in a world of mindfuckification.
That's amazing. Once you step inside the cave, it is as you let me rephrase that. So
Is it bigger on the inside than the outside?
let me get there. As you approach, let's say, the threshold of the cave, it definitely appears that it is about big enough for him and maybe one other if you were to crouch inside. However, once you step inside, it is an immediate, instantaneous change. You now stand upon a desert plain stretching to the horizon and beyond. The air is hot, still, sweat pouring nearly instantly, and then drying on the skin just as fast. And beside you, the oracle stands. Now, before I continue with you, for Reinhardt and everybody else observing, all you can tell is that they have stepped inside the cave.
Okay.
All right. And have in a passing that line where once you go into the dark side of the cave, it's hard to see inside the cave, if that makes any sense. They have
My
disappeared from sight.
literally doesn't see with her eyes. Warp sorceress person can't distinguish any of this.
Correct. For GM reasons. Just to be
Uh-huh.
totally honest with you.
Blinded by the light.
She does not register light as a visible spectrum.
Listen. Besides you, the
Revved
oracle
up
stands.
like a deuce, not wrapped up like a douche.
Correct. Deuce referring to an engine type of some sort. At
A
any
deuce
rate,
coupe.
beside you, the oracle stands, and he says, "Have you come as a conqueror with sword and shield?" And he has paused, obviously, for you to answer. And I want you to imagine that as you try to form your answer, that you are upon a desert plain, hot wind whipping around you, dust stinging your eyes. It is ungodly hot.
Well, I'm pulling the cap down over my eyes to adjusting it to account for shade on my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
I would say I come as a defender of my people, as and a conqueror of those who would seek to destabilize or destroy the empire.
Have you come, perhaps, as a student, with pen and book upon which to scribble your notes?
My teachers, while I may have learned from them, would not describe me as one particularly studious.
Have you come instead as a wanderer, compass and sextant, your only guide to the stars beyond?
I do not wander, I know where I go.
Ah, yes. But you can only pick one answer to be one thing, for no one will ever remember as no one will remember you as anything but. So I ask you, what is it you seek?
I seek what all rogue traders are allegedly tasked with, to expand my holdings as a rogue trader and further the reach of the glorious emperor.
The oracle moves to stand before you with a hand offering his hand to you. In the palm of his hand is a dropping of the Hildemoss sap. It's meant to be consumed by the mouth.
Okay.
I think his body language is indicating if he's not actually saying that. Just to be clear, it's being offered to you.
I take it. I'm holding it in 2 fingers, and I visually examine it.
It's sap.
Are we talking something that must be consumed with a spoon? Because that's what sap would be. Are we talking something that's hardened into some sort of resin?
It's a gooey, sticky, syrupy substance that is now on your fingers, but you can ingest it.
Okay, so basically, I couldn't have picked it up with 2 fingers. It's cupped in his hand.
Yes.
Okay. I reach into the pocket of my vest and pull out my portable silverware.
You pull out your mess kit? I'm sorry.
No, I have
know.
a traveler's spoon with the full engravings and ornateness that would be expected of someone of a rogue trader station.
Yeah.
And I scoop the sap off of his hand and smell it.
It smells. God, I'm trying to think of the best way to phrase it. It's definitely got maple notes and pine notes, and probably some exotic note that you would recognize as a smell that you probably picked up like inherently as you walked from the shuttle here. You know, when you walk through the woods and the woods kind of has like a natural ambient smell, and you're picking up some of that smell in this syrup that, or this sap that also has maple and pine and other earthy tones to it.
Now, he hasn't told me it's sap. I just know there's a gooey substance in his hand that he's
Correct.
offering for me to eat. I say, this sap, did it lead to my mother's downfall?
That's a good question. Let's see. The Oracle
this
merely watches you to see what you do. You also get kind of an impression in your mind that taking the sap isn't necessarily a requirement, but it does feel as though maybe some of your answers are within. This is kind of a more suggestive, maybe you're coming with this idea on your own, maybe it's some sort of psychic implant, but you can't really tell. Maybe it's an intuitive thing. Maybe it's something you're picking up in his body language as he's watching you, waiting to see what you do with this sap.
So he seems to be encouraging me to eat it, or more just seeing what I do?
Well, it's not blatant.
Nonverbal.
Yeah,
Nonverbal.
it's not blatant encouragement. He's just watching, expecting you to.
And so he was totally non-responsive when I asked the question about the sap.
Correct. He's just watching you at this point.
Okay.
Either you take it or you don't. And he's expecting you to take it because others have. But he's also aware that maybe you won't because also others have.
There's okay.
There's the haves and the have-nots.
Yeah, in a very literal
Decide
sense.
who you'll be.
Yeah.
Did my mother take this?
She has. You have the look of her. Has anybody told you that before? And the look of somebody else.
I suddenly think, do I resemble Thale in any of his images?
Do you want an answer to that question as well?
No, well, not from him, but that's a me like going, wait a minute. That's me suddenly picturing Thale in a potentially different light.
Well, one thing you could definitely infer is that maybe he has seen your father, whom you have not.
Yes. Well, no, I was my first thought was towards Thale, so like reflexively. So do I suddenly see a little bit of Thale in myself, or do I immediately brush that off because it's, it's silly?
Give me I gotta look at a character sheet because I don't remember all the shits. Let's go with perception, -10. Because your mind is not on that particular subject other than suddenly. You can fate point that if you like. I don't know what your perception is.
Not that high.
Up to you whether or not you want to fate it.
Well, I'm getting very frustrated, not by you, but when I did some of my changes to Windows, for some reason when it opens up something on one window of the several windows that I have, normally I'm used to just controlling what's up on what screen from my second monitor, but now the toolbar only shows the programs that are open on that particular window.
Ah, yes.
Or that particular monitor, excuse me.
As opposed to both monitors having both same
shared
bars.
tabs.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure how to adjust that. Anyway.
I'm just gonna say I'm getting some definite Rafiki vibes from this guy.
Rafiki? Why does that name?
Yeah, Lion King. I knew your father.
Was that the monkey?
Yes.
Okay. I don't think he was a monkey. I think he was something different than a monkey, but he was
a baboon.
Primate. Yes, baboon.
Are monkeys baboons or are baboons monkeys?
I don't know.
Baboons are monkeys. If it doesn't have a tail, it's not a monkey, even if it's got a monkey kind of shape. If it doesn't have a tail, it's not a monkey. If it doesn't have a tail, it's not a monkey, it's an ape.
The ape, that's it. Anyway, we are way off track. Are you taking this damn sap or not? Actually, let me back up to be more accurate. Are you fate pointing this?
I'm trying to get my character sheet to actually come up.
Okay, sorry. Not to put undue pressure on you.
Do you want me to lead you through fixing your taskbar?
Potentially after this.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sure I could figure it out. I just haven't.
You
I
haven't actually
haven't
sat
bothered
down
yet.
to do that.
So no, it doesn't pass. So on a perception check that doesn't pass, if I think, wait a minute, fail. On a not pass, what do I get?
You are left undetermined.
I'm a rogue trader. I'm never undetermined. Either I brush it off or I go.
Oh, maybe
Or
then. Well, I mean, that's for you to interpret.
Okay,
Mechanically, it's undetermined. So if you want to brush it off or table it for later or dwell on it some more, that's entirely up to you.
All right. So
Do you
Sap
not
has-
have any more fate points?
I do, but there's also a warp travel and orcs ahead. So I
I love how that's become the tagline of this episode. But there's warp and orcs coming.
There's so many places for us to die horribly.
I don't know if my audio filter is cutting that out, but I just got a big alert on my phone. Sorry about that.
I didn't hear it, so it's working in that regard.
Amber alert here in Texas. So I basically narrow my eyes at him, and I lick the sap off the spoon.
Okay. An easy way to explain this in a narrative sense is that there's something of a narration going on in the background, right? But also, as it's being narrated, you are seeing a very literal scene around you at the same time. So I'm going to read some stuff, and then we can deduce what we need to deduce as far as how your character perceives it, and then go into what it means. First, the beacon lies dormant for now, but there are others. The beacon is sought by pride untamed and knowledge unclaimed. Once the beacon is lit, the darkness will not be banished, but will instead descend. It will show the path through an enemy's doorway to the enemy's hearth, and all along the passage through the mountains the crows will watch and peck. As you hear or feel these words, you see the literal scene around you, and it feels like it takes days for you to traverse this. A tower in the distance, much like the one seen in the dreams while you guys were in the warp, cold and dark. And then it's lit, its light spreading out over the plains. The wind rushing suddenly, driving dirt and rock into your face and exposed skin, biting, slashing, the gale unrelenting. But a path through the storm is shown, a trail into the mountains ahead. An arch over the path with a blackened mail fist hanging from it, and through that arch the mountains loom, massive and majestic and cold and barren. And from each peak 100 crows gathered, cackling and cawing. And as you draw through the path towards its end, they swoop and swirl, circling and cawing and diving and striking, and there at the end of the path, beacon is lit and darkness descends. Days have passed. You hunger and thirst, your tongue swollen in your mouth, and your lips cracked and dried. And there, a table before you, upon which rests a sword, a compass, a feather pen. What questions would you like to ask, either in or out of character? Or would you like to just skip all the preamble and go straight for grabbing one of these? Which one do you grab first?
Well, I already know what they are from his questions. That wasn't
Clearly.
subtle.
That was pretty obvious.
If I sort of like make a hand waving gesture at these objects on the table or whatever, do they appear to be tangible or more ethereal?
They appear to be quite real. And also, And I want to iterate. I kind of breezed over it, no pun intended, from some of the description I read there. But you have been on a journey for days, and the Oracle is not with you at the moment.
Okay.
Well, let me rephrase that. It may feel like days. You are absolutely starving, and you are absolutely parched and exhausted.
Okay. So I see this table sitting there with the objects. Yes.
Mhm.
What's? Am I still in this parching desert?
No, you have passed through the desert, through an archway, through the mountains, and come out the other side and back. Effectively, you're back on the desert plains with this table in front of you. And if you go to look behind you, much further in the distance than you might have expected, that's where you see the desert peaks. Way in the distance.
Okay.
Like, how did I travel that far so fast without even knowing it?
Right.
Overhead, the crows. There's still some crows circling you because it is a desert, and they're hungry. Much
Do
like
I
you.
have do I in this wherever it is? Do I have all of my accoutrement, or
Yeah.
am I?
You
stripped
have
of my
everything you brought
clothing?
with you. Much like Luke going into the Dagobah forest or cave, whatever it was. You know what I'm
Okay.
trying to say.
We've already made that Star Wars reference.
And I'm making another one because why? The horse isn't dead yet. Sorry. Please continue.
Well, I walk up between the sword and the compass.
Mhm.
I'm going to attempt to grab both at the same time.
Well played. It doesn't work.
How
You
does
hear a
it work?
voice. You must choose. And as you grab both, your fingers slip right through them as though it wasn't there at all.
I speak towards whatever direction it seemed like the voice came from as loudly as I can project.
Mhm.
I made a choice. You just didn't like it.
You hear, at first it sounds like legit cackling. Like, I want you to picture old mad wizard cackling, right? But then the sound shifts over the pouring, raging winds, and then it just ends up being the crows cawing at you from high above as they circle around you.
A compass doesn't indicate wandering, though.
Compass indicates a direction.
Mm-hmm.
The wandering has completed. The journey now lays before. The journey, of course, implying an origin and a destination. The exact opposite, one could argue, of wandering.
I grab the sword and I say I make my own destination.
Very well. Please increase your weapon skill by 5 points. Permanently and
Ooh.
forever. That's actually redundant the way I just said that, but you get the idea. As you choose the sword fades, the desert fades, the table fades. You are now standing inside the cave. It is only a handful of feet deep, as you had suspected when you first walked in. A bed laid before the back wall and a shelf nearby with various jars and knickknacks. Beside you, the oracle, standing, simply says, "Rest for a while," and then steps outside. And do you watch him as he steps outside?
Yes.
You look outside and you see that for whatever time passage felt like for you, none has passed out here. For Reinhardt in particular, what you observed was Lord Captain stepping into the cave with the Oracle following right behind him, and then 10 seconds later, the Oracle stepping right back out.
In that case, Reinhardt is going to be like, well, that was quick.
As you make your mind up as to what you want to do, Lord Captain, the Oracle steps out of his cave and returns to his spot on the on the rock, takes a seat, leans on his staff, and in a way that would indicate he's not actively watching you, he's watching you.
There's time for rest later. And even if I feel like I've been awake for days, I am going to walk out.
Have a seat.
as best I can.
Have a seat. Let us talk. And the fire springs to life again.
Very well.
There are a couple of tree stumps that you can sit on. Not stumps, but like seats made from tree stumps. Other
I
things.
snap my fingers and have my campaign chair brought up.
Reinhardt, when you see your Lord Captain come out of the cave and the fire flares to life all of a sudden, and then the Lord Captain does his hand signal for, I need my chair, please.
Reinhardt's not bringing it. I have other people for that.
No, I know, but he sees that because he's not
Yes.
far away.
Yeah. Reinhardt will indeed be a bit confused, as one might expect.
Servants do bring, a couple of your peon soldier types. One of them brings up the chair, and the other one just kind of comes with him because you've taught your guys to never go alone. And then they scurry back off into the tree line. And the Oracle says you have questions, yes? One normally doesn't come here without them.
I have questions. I have questions about the warning you gave my mother.
I gave your mother no warning. Let me be clear, if I may, my lord. And when he says my lord, he says it not derisively, not trying to be rude or indignant, but definitely you are the lord of this world, but I really don't, I don't think we have the same relationship that you think that we do. And he says, you may have misunderstood the purpose that I fulfill here. I am merely a guide. I am not... I shall answer it, man. Sorry, that's not what he says, but that's what he says. You can ask your questions, and I will guide you to the answer, but I cannot forge the path for you. Only illuminate it. I did provide such guidance to your mother before she died.
And you bring up my father?
Did I?
I may not have your insight, but don't play me for the fool.
Surely you are not a fool. I would not dare to presume. I mentioned that you had the look of your mother and another that I did not expect. Yes. Do I know precisely who your father is? I can speculate. That's only speculation.
Your speculation verbalized would be greatly appreciated at this moment in time.
I would look to your own crowd for the face. Hold on, give me a second. There was a really cool way to phrase that, and I almost fucked it up there. Look to your own crowd for the face that looks similar to yours. You have, I suspect, met your father.
Mm-hmm.
But you did not come here to learn of your lineage. You came here to know what happened to your mother. You came here to know what will happen to you.
I came here because it's customary for the leaders of my world to see you, and my mother saw you.
You don't strike me as the customary traditional type. Man who forges their own path usually is not. You have made your choice, have you?
I may make my own path, but if certain things are expected of one in my position, I can oblige.
I think for a moment when you talk about things being expected of people, he has like one of those kind of like shrugs, sweeps his arms around himself a little bit. It's like, and I too am expected to do or not do certain things. It falls upon all of us, no matter our roles in life. But please, let us address your concerns here and now. What may I do to help illuminate your path?
You offer the sap that gives me a vision.
did.
First, I would ask, you are no normal human. What are you?
He draws his breath in slowly as though to maybe figure out how best to phrase it. And he says, after a moment, I am a human. I am exactly as I appear to be. To tell you more may violate some of the constraints that I must adhere to.
How much would my character know about Eternals?
Define eternal so I know exactly what you're talking about. Because when you say eternal, the first thing I think of is, other than that movie for post Endgame,
There are humans within the Empire, particularly those who are sired by the Emperor,
mm-hmm.
as well as some others who do not die of natural aging.
He would fit a similar category to that in the way that I may have created an eternal without realizing I created an eternal.
There are others that even go so far as to when they do die, they come back.
Yes, and the Emperor is
You're
one of
talking
those.
the perpetuals?
Yes, thank you.
That's what the Emperor is, isn't he?
He's one of them, yes.
Yeah.
So is Vulcan. So is John Chromaticus and Erda.
He's suspected to be a perpetual, though they've never let him die long enough to find out.
Well, okay, that's fair. But before he became the Emperor, like in his times as, I don't know, someone whose name may or may not have rhymed with Jesus Christ. No, what you see before you is a human, and as he mentions things like constraints and violations, you might get the impression that he is more than human, but in a way that you don't really understand, or in a way that you can't really draw a line.
Well, your constraints, your tasks, you're here as a guide.
Indeed, I am.
But in that role as a guide, do you have an enemy? Do you have a purpose, a direction?
He smiles in a. He thinks it's a warm, inviting smile. It may not come across that way. And he says, I have no enemy, no arch nemesis. I simply am. And in my capacity of being, I provide guidance to those willing to seek me out, and have done so for a very long time. And will continue to do so. Presumably, and he looks around to the woods and the sky, presumably for much longer.
Do you know of the beacon?
I know that there is a light by which you may follow your way. But I think there is more to your question, what you are asking.
I do not speak of the light which I may follow, but a beacon of darkness.
Yes. There are things older than anything the human mind can understand in this universe. This beacon might be of an age such as that. That may have sounded a bit more cryptic than I meant it to be. It meant to have some crypticism, but not that much. Basically, what he's saying is that obviously there are things in the universe older than what humans can comprehend, and this may be a thing of that category, that age demographic, if you will. The beacon that you're referring to.
Does this thing have a will of its own? Can it be controlled or harnessed, or is it something to be destroyed?
The beacon is simply a tool, from my understanding.
The presence behind the beacon.
Ah. That's the rub, isn't it? That's the true question. Can the thing that the beacon guides one to be controlled? Must it be destroyed? Is it a tool? Is it a thing? Is it a person? That's the question, is it not?
It was what I just asked.
He chuckles. And he says, the beacon comes from a time before humanity, before things that roamed the stars before humanity. And it will be here long after many of those stars themselves have died. Much like people that made it. Whether or not they can be controlled, whether or not they must be destroyed, is not an answer I have. The answer I do have is that they are out there. And this beacon may lead you to them. What that means, perhaps there is only one way to find it. I love it when I leave notes specifically for me in my notes, and they are just as snarky as I am. For instance, this one sentence, and he is just a man. Sorry, that may have broken the silence there. Or the, not silence, the ambiance.
Well, as illuminating and as strange as this has been, I thank you for all of your non-answers.
You had questions of your mother, did you not?
Well, if you continue to provide me answers like the one you've already given, my time would be better spent elsewhere, and I turn to walk away.
I feel like you. I'm trying to think if he would have a witty thing to throw at you as you do walk away, but he really doesn't. He's just gonna let you go. And he says, hold on, give me a second. Let me figure out what I'm trying to say here.
He's offered answers and giving nothing. He's wasting my time.
Understandable. He says, be mindful, the black-mailed fist. That might very well be the next step in your path.
I have already taken steps in that direction.
In that case, my lord, I wish you the... Oh, God, what would
Let me
he
clarify, because
Uh-huh.
both the Fail Hand and House Hannet appear to have some type of fist iconography in their...
Now, the House Bell has the rose. And
I thought it was a rose grasped by a armored hand,
You know what? It might have
because you
been.
called it the Fell Hand.
Well, the Fell Hand is a play on his name for his ship. I believe I gave them just the rose, and then the only other distinction I gave was blood members of the house, like actual members of the family, have on their emblems of the rose blood on the thorns.
Mm.
Now, House Hannet has the black mailed fist, as though
Okay.
the fist is coming straight at you. He does also mention, as you are at the point of, like, almost at the point of no return, he does say, my lord, do be mindful. The Obfa, they are the ones that made the beacons. They are the ones that have always been and will always be.
And I say the Bloody Rose. Have you any non-answers about them?
I think, God, I really want to be a smartass. He says, the rose is just a rose. The blood, simply from grabbing the rose too tightly. And what do we do when things prick us? We let them go.
You might. And I walk away.
I think he's actually chuckling when you say that. I'm going to point out that whether or not you, the player, intended it, your character absolutely missed the hidden meaning there. In particular, the rose, that is.
Oh no, I got the veiled meaning.
What was the veiled meaning that you received then?
Well, it didn't prick me.
Well, okay.
For all intents and purposes, it is my rose.
At this point now, yeah. More or less. All right. Where to? Are we going back to the city? Back to the ship?
I would make whatever radio calls to make sure we're not receiving any reinforcements from the planet. They're too busy doing other things. So I see no reason to go back to the city.
Okay.
Should our shuttles be capable of making of docking with the
your ships can make it.
the ship?
Let's just assume you came down on like a gun cutter or something, and now you're going back up to your ship if you. Is Marcellus Thale staying behind? On Regius, as per previous agreements and things of that nature.
I'm assuming during this period he's arranged for whoever. I thought you keep delaying it and not talking about it, but I thought
yes,
I was supposed to be getting a new
seneschal. There is a seneschal being ferried up to your ship. We will meet him at the next session. Have introductions
already been made?
No, we'll meet him at the next session because I haven't made the character yet because I keep forgetting about it. To be fair, I keep forgetting and keep pushing it off and then realizing, fuck, now it's too late. So I'm going to make a new seneschal character to portray. I haven't done. I had meant to do that in the preceding 2 weeks, but kept getting sidetracked and forgetful. At any rate, I believe it is time for us to head into the warp, unless there is anything else you want to do. A scene with your fellow castmates, perhaps? Absolutely, and up to you guys.
Well, I would probably have conversations at some point with, and this would probably be in the warp, travel or sometime, sure. But conversations about what I saw with particularly both Winter and the Navigator, as they're both somewhat entwined in this particular thing, and interpretations of dreams are best left to psychics.
Indeed. Especially when that psychic can literally reach into your head and pluck those memories out and read them for herself. That totally did not sound invasive at all, did it?
Not at all.
Okay.
Implying ability does not mean, they have to.
This is true. Because I can do a thing doesn't mean I will or need to do a thing.
Yeah. Just makes it more likely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Much more likely.
Yeah. I mean, listen, it's Winter. She would ask for permission before she went in there scooping memories out like it's ice cream.
Would she?
Uh-oh.
Well,
I mean,
probably
as long as it was
she felt like she was threatened.
Yeah, I mean, if she felt the need to go in there with an ice cream scoop, then she would just do it. But
I feel like it less than permission. She'd just be like, "Okay, I'm going."
It could be that. It could be that, depending on the scenario. Yeah, yeah. All right. What do we want to do? Do you want to go into the warp now? Or do you want to have one of those conversations, or?
Well, once we're in the warp, I suspect the Navigator is going to have her hands full.
Yes, she will be busy either navigating or resting, and then navigating some more. So, generally not available. Generally.
So the conversation with the Navigator would probably take place before we go into the warp, since they've had some visions and things of their own.
Yes, House Mercator is known for its secrets. Well, is known for having secrets, and finding secrets, and trading secrets. Oh, yes. Yes, Lord Captain, you wish to speak with me?
I detail all of the imagery given to me in the dream, and I mention the name of the alien species that he referenced as being the creators of this.
Oh, curious. And he said they were old as time and will continue long after. Crows. How curious. There would be crows on the mountaintops. Sorry, Lord Captain, did you have a specific question? There's a lot here for me to process, and I don't really know where exactly to begin. It would seem that at some point a trip to the Hanet homeworld would be in order. That would be my first guess based on the imagery of the arch with the sign of the Hanet house. Are you muted, Rev? I can't tell.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not muted. It's just I recalled the word Ofa having meaning in the actual literal world.
Well, I will tell you this. In this context, it does not. If it magically lines up with some other random bits of lore, like the Eternals did, not bad. In fact, I can give you, if it will make you feel any better. Let's see. Trader channel.
Ofas means to have no effect on someone.
All right, in the Discord channel for the Rogue Trader group is the alien name that he used. And actually, I just realized that is spelled slightly incorrect based on how I wanted to do it. So let me fix that really quick. There we go. That apostrophe is supposed to be something of a glottal stop. For those that know what that means. Think of like choppa and shupa. In this case, it would be the ofa.
Oh, so it's similar to Ufta.
Sure. And if Ufta is anything close to what I'm coming up with in my head, it is not at all that. But anyway, Lord Captain, I would remind you, of course, that the Tasklock 5 system does have some interest to my family, as well as, based on some of the things in your vision, the Haneti homeworld. Or, I suppose, the world that they have secured for themselves in the last few generations.
Well, aside from coming to pick the dead, what sort of imagery, symbology is there any particular group or culture in the region that seems to that would likely be symbolized by crows?
None that I'm aware of. I will have to research this OFA to see more about it, but I doubt I have anything conclusive on the ship. Perhaps when we come out of the warp, I can confer with Lady Winter and get a message back to my family. Maybe they can provide more information at a later date. The crow imagery does imply death or consumption of the dead. So perhaps there's a message in that somewhere. What exactly that message might be, I'm not sure.
It's a Corvid conspiracy.
It's a murder of crows watching you.
I was about to say there's a murder afoot.
She pauses for a moment and she says an interesting thought that I had just spoken that perhaps is more in line. The consumption of the dead, not so much the death itself. Perhaps that's something to consider. And she does one of those, like, I'm going to make another Star Wars reference. Sorry. In A New Hope, when Vader's like, I forget exactly what he says, but he's like, "The presence I haven't felt in," and he just suddenly turns around and walks away. She kind of has that same sort of expression, except she doesn't actually walk away. She just kind of like trails off mid thought.
Yeah, I'm getting so many answers today. It's amazing.
You're getting answers. They're just not conclusive. They will all make sense. Listen, there's a GM in your ear right now saying it will all make sense one day. Maybe. If your real GM knows how to put a story together and then tie all the strings back together at the end.
Inconclusive is not an answer.
An answer is an answer. Whether or not it's helpful determines its conclusivity. That's Also, yet again, not a word, I'm sure. At any rate, she has hit you with the. Perhaps it has more to do with the consumption of the dead than it does with the actual death. And then she trails off right there. Pensively, expressing into the void.
Well,
It is a mystery, Lord Captain. That is certain. Excuse me, that is certain.
well, the previous visions that we've compiled seem to indicate large amounts of death and destruction.
Indeed, the visions of the orbs streaking through space and destroying whole planets before leaving and repeating the process. Ships from the void. Beacons in the dark.
Very well. I almost want to send a message of warning of the dark portents of this beacon back to the Inquisitor, or would it be Inquisitress?
Inquisitor Sabrina and Drymos.
Mm-hmm. You know,
Certainly an option.
well, we'd have to be within choir range, and I feel like we're not.
Yeah, you'd have to go back to at least Achelos, whatever I called it.
Yes.
Although it was only a handful of days to get there from here, or to get here from there.
No, I think
But there is
Well, I
the
thought-
threat of orcs. Sorry, go ahead.
the orcs remind me they're on Vitamar, yes?
Yes.
I feel like the present danger of the orcs on Vitamor needs to be dealt with.
As you say, Lord Captain. And on that note, unless you have anything else for me, I will begin our preparations for entering the warp.
At your best speed, please.
As you say, Lord Captain. And she will do the navigator version of fucking off to the navigator holds. Fucking, you know what I mean. So, I think we have enough time for this journey unless you guys have some really shitty rolls. Now that I said that, of course, you might have
Well,
some shitty
I have rolled
rolls.
100 tonight.
Yeah. So, let me grab my little marble of the warp so that I can replicate it when ready. Let me put you over here. All right, when the players are ready, it's time to depart Regius for Vitamar. Base journey is something I'm not going to tell you. Let's see. So, starting with Navigator making a... Who's rolling? Rev trying to get the bad rolls out of the way?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I don't think that's really how that works, but maybe. Maybe. Let's see. Navigator attempts a challenging Cynicians test with a +20 bonus for detailed charts on hand. So that's going to be something pretty easy, I think. So Cynicians 59, 49. Oh, hold on. 49 plus, what does that say? That plus 10 right there? Yep, plus 10.
Doesn't she also get a +10 from the almanac?
I'm getting there. I'm working my way through all her bonuses. So she gets a challenging, so it's 59 plus 20. No, it's plus 10 from something. So yeah, 69. Nice. Ow. Fuck. I just kicked the back of my goddamn heel. Oh, it hurts. Especially when that's where the bone spurs are. I really.
So you hit the back of your heel, or you kicked it with the other foot?
No, I hit the back of my heel on the chair leg.
Fair.
And it fucking hurts because that's where, as I mentioned, the bone spurs are.
Right. Well, the only time I've kicked myself in the back of the heel was when I was wearing steel toes. That it would have been.
Ooh, that's. Ooh. Yeah. All right, 69. Nice.
What?
That was a 93.
It rolled off the table. It doesn't count.
I don't want to go with that, but it doesn't work on the. This is on a real table, maybe. But how much fate points does she have? I think she has like 2 or some dumb shit. Yep, 2. Well, am I using my own fate point, or is somebody going to loan me one?
Well, until she runs out, she should use her own.
Ah, yes, we're gonna go that route. Okay, all right, I can get behind that. All right, rolling a 69 second time.
What? Why?
This is one of her rolls that she has to make for the warp.
No, but the dice keeps going off the pad.
Oh, I
when you
have no
roll.
idea why it's doing that. Honestly, I didn't move the pad. All y'all's dice have been staying in the box. I don't know why mine are different. So that's going to be a failure. Let's see. Okay. All right. Let me go to that, and I want this one, and I want page.
I thought we've been rolling like an 80 plus on the navigator roll.
You know what? Hold on. It's 59, and then I forgot. Yeah, plus 10. Hang on. Give me. No, it's actually on her sheet.
Do we have charts of the region? I'm sure we got.
Nope. So she gets the. God damn it! All right, give me 1 second. We have the plus 20 navigation warp. She doesn't have anything else, but she does get the plus 20 bonus for detailed charts. So that actually would have been an 89, which means that 83 passed. So we're good. So now I do need to roll on that table slightly differently this time. So let me find that table. Oh yeah, here we go. So go back up 1, and all right, one of you guys, please roll me a 1d10. No, hold that thought. Hold that thought. I don't think we need to do that.
Reinhardt was at least in the last scene, so Alterios or Jace, come give us a roll.
Well, hold on, stand by.
No.
2-2, but I already know what the base. All right, never mind. We're not going to do that. So, all right, next is House Van Breeze pre-warp rituals. Everybody grabs up some pocket change. We throw it in a big smelter. We make a new skull, and we throw obols on it or something like that. Is that how it goes? What's the tradition?
Technically, the eyes are made of coins, but yes, we still put coins over the eyes.
Yes, that's it. Okay. In that case, give me a 1d100, and we need to roll. Sorry,
you said ovals, but it's
obols, right?
Okay. Yes.
That's what I meant to say.
I thought you said ovals, and I'm like, what?
No, I meant to say obols, like the not obol,
right,
but
the
the other
currency.
one. 1d100 versus the crew morale, which is, I believe, 101. So don't roll a 100. It's pretty much the only way to fail this roll at this point.
Alterios or Jace, who's hitting it?
All right, we're good. I don't know why his dice stayed in the damn pad and not mine, but whatever.
Everybody but yours dice has stayed in the pad.
I don't know why it does that, honestly.
Reasons.
Yeah, probably. All right, and we enter the warp, and that requires willpower tests from everybody. Lord Captain and Icarus, plus 20 willpower, and Reinhardt and Jace, plus 30 willpower, unless you guys have some other reason for that to go better for you.
Really? Two of the same roll in a row? What have you done to me? I'm gonna fate point that one.
Huh?
If I get a third 80 in a row.
Okay, no, you're fine. You're not going crazy during this trip. Who's next?
Whee!
Red hand. That is a 60.
Ha! I win.
Yeah. All right, who's next? Jace with a willpower plus 30.
My first roll
36
under 40 tonight.
He's rolled.
Not a problem.
See, Jace has rolled 36 twice in a row too now. And then 48 for Alterios, which should be a pass. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. No warp travel hallucination bullshit for you guys. Next, locating the Astronomicon Navigator makes a plus 20 Cynicians test. Did I put anything crazy in here for this particular journey for like reasons? Nope, I didn't. Otherwise, I would have put it in here right now. All right. In that case, let's see. Yep. So Cynicians plus 20 for reasons. So that's going to be a 49, 59, 79. 43. That's pass. With 3 degrees of success. So plus 10 bonus navigation warp test for the rest of the trip. Steering the vessel, navigator makes a challenging navigation warp test. So that will have a plus 10, plus 20, and plus 20. So that's plus 50 altogether. So where is my character sheet? There it is. Let's see. Navigation warp is intelligence 52, 62. So basically don't roll 100. We're good. That is 6 degrees of success. What's that translate into?
And there's you rolling 43 twice.
Yeah, I saw that too. 2-4.
What'd you do to Tabletop Simulator, Warner? Or sorry, Omar.
Nothing. I promise.
Oh yeah, nothing. But it's rolling like this,
Okay.
and
We
suddenly your
get-
die is going off the table.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't make this shit up.
Illicit mods. Calling it now.
Oh, we get one of those. Okay. 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 Let's see. Go ahead and give me the 2 1d100 rolls to see what we encounter. Or not encounter, as the case may be.
Valturios, why don't you throw down the first one?
78. Etheric Wreath. Physical encounter. Please give me the second 1d100 roll. 91. Temporal
I think
hole.
that's your favorite.
Temporal hole, please. It doesn't risk ship damage as much.
Let's see. If the navigator cannot lead the vessel away from this encounter, the vessel is sucked from the warp and translated back into reality. And then, of course, things get a little bit wonky. All right, so first things first. Physical encounter. Well, first we try to avoid this encounter altogether, or detect it, I should say.
I direct my navigator and pilot to steer us directly into the temporal hole.
They will ignore your guidance, unfortunately.
I don't actually do that. I just...
Yeah. Let me see.
My vote is for the 78.
Let's see. Cynicians plus 10 with, I think I get something else in there. So that's a 59.
The temporal reef can do a ton
69.
of damage to the ship. I would honestly rather
Am I
a time
rolling?
travel than major damage to the ship.
All right, so skill is 59 plus 10 is 69. I'm going to drop my second and final fate point to make that a 79.
It's going to be a similar roll to evade it, if not the same.
That is 15. That's 6 degrees of success. On passing, navigator can make the attempt to avoid the encounter as page 93. It's been a little bit since we applied the warp, so I'm like making sure I got all the steps correct. So bear with me, guys. Let's see. Locating now. Next Duncon. Travel encounters. Avoiding physical encounters. Detecting.
What kind of
encounters.
roll was that?
One that I passed with 6 degrees of success. So bear with me for a minute while I figure out exactly what that means for the next step. The next step is making my move to actually avoid it. So I have detected the encounter ahead of time with more than enough time to make countermeasures. So let's see. If he passes the test, he can try to avoid the encounter as described below. His perception of the danger ahead might manifest as a sudden... Navigator has time to prepare himself. Gains a plus 20 bonus to the navigation warp test when facing this encounter. Navigation... So that's another plus 20 on my navigation roll. So, first, we have navigation, warp, base is intelligence plus 10, so that's 62. 82 for the task I just finished. 102 from previous, and then the warp is, so basically don't roll 100 again. And we're good with a 68. Now,
Your dice
Jace
rolled off the tray again.
Yeah, it's going. Listen, I can't help it. Okay, I'm sorry.
You can stop doing that.
Well, what? Stop rolling? You guys are stuck in the warp forever.
Hooray.
Jace, you now get to make a piloting +10, and then plus whatever other bonuses you might have. Not aware of off the top of my head. I think you have like a almanac or something like that as well.
Yes, I do.
So +10, and then plus whatever else you got. To
Plus
follow-
10, plus 10 for the skill.
+20.
Was there anything else?
You have did you counted the almanac or whatever, right?
Yeah.
I was gonna say not unless
Oh,
you bought.
you have a +10 from the test itself. You have a +10 from the almanac. You have a +10 from your skill training, right?
So plus 30.
Right.
So that's +30 total so far.
Oh, what was the other 10?
I thought you said you had don't you have piloting +10 as a base?
Yes.
So then you have +10 on top of that from
And
the
it's-
test, and then you have another +10 from your almanac or sextant or whatever it is you have.
The calculus array.
So you're sitting at a
Oh, did the
+30 so far.
navigator give me a plus 10?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, the test is ordinary +10 difficulty.
Okay, so I'm looking at an 85. And I rolled a 24.
And no time travel shenanigans take place.
Oh.
And you arrive now 5 days later at. Let me make it official. Bing! At Vitamar. Let me get through my notes to the right place. Leaving the warp. Accuracy of reentry. Got it. System notes. I'm going to breeze. I'm not going to breeze through this, but I'm going to kind of touch on the basis things, or the big things here. And then we will move into closing out for the night. So, the Vitamar star itself is an odd star. It casts a purple light instead of what would otherwise be expected, a red-orange light for the size and mass of this star. There are no known association with the warp or other malevolence as far as the star is concerned, outside of the fact, of course, that there are orcs in the system. These are all things, of course, that you're picking up as you enter the system from the edge and then proceed deeper into the core of the system.
Immediately looking for those badly maintained reactor signatures.
Yes, and we will touch on that momentarily. But first, some basic information of the system that you are in. The Inner Cauldron consists of 2 worlds, Furio and Inferus. Both worlds are far too hot to be able to be settled, though each may later be explored to determine suitability of investment. The primary biosphere consists of 2 worlds, Vitamar Primus and Vitamar Secundus, as well as some asteroid clusters and the Vetus asteroid belt. Vitamar Primus is a large world with normal gravity but no moons or satellites. It has a moderate and pure atmosphere, basically Earth standard. It does have a limited ecosystem, one that appears to have suffered a natural disaster in the past and is on the verge of recovery. That natural disaster may or may not be related to the orcs, time and time again, fucking things up, as orcs tend to do. It should be noted that in your generic...
Orcs are a natural disaster.
Well, they cause natural disasters is probably more accurate.
Well, since they're a fungus, they are a literal natural disaster.
There is that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. It should be noted that in your, on your ship's notes and registries and histories and things of that nature, that there are mineral resources on Vitamar Primus, including a nearly exhausted radioactive resource and a limited source of industrial metals, but both require that the orc threat to be removed before you can continue or resume exploitation of said resources. Vitamar Secundus is a large, dense world with normal gravity and, again, no satellites, a thin and pure atmosphere requiring some rebreathers and or breathing apparatus assistance. It is a cold world, being a bit distant from the local sun, and thus having also a limited ecosystem that is not fully capitalized on the local conditions in order to thrive. There are a number of resources available here as well, but they have yet to be actively exploited, mostly, presumably, because of the orc threat over the last few years since establishing this colony. There is an annotation in your records indicating that there does appear to be some sort of unknown Xenos ruins on the surface of Vitamar Secundus, but again, they have not yet been sufficiently explored. The Outer Reaches contains 2 gas giants and an unexplored ice world. Both gas giants contain a number of dust rings and moons. And let's see. As you transit deeper into the system, and you are nearing Vitamar Primus, which is the location of your colonies here, there are indeed the unique, distinct signatures of, and let me just drop them on here. Whoops, wrong button. Before I do that, let me switch this back over. Click. Did I click? Oh, I did click on the wrong. There we go. There are 2 distinct signatures of Orky bits floating in space. And by floating in space, I mean rocketing generally in your direction. Bum bum bum. Orcs in space!
We just arrived. Orcs aren't known for their good sensors, and they're already moving towards us.
Well, let's be clear. By just arrived, it was a handful of days ago as you traversed from the edge of the system to the inner parts of the system where the orcs were. They've had enough time to pick you up and start maneuvering towards you.
Okay.
I realize that their shit is generically not as good as human shit. That sounds really bad, but they definitely appear to be on the move to face you off and, shoot at you and do orky things, which we will get into next episode.
Next episode.
Because if we start combat now, we will never get out of here.
I would have had to go to bed, and you guys would have to do it without me.
Yeah, and we need our resident tech priest to fix the ship as we blow it up. That said, go ahead and take. Let me see. What do my notes say here? La, 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 la. 250 experience points.
Right.
Yeah.
And let me check out my notes here. Oh, you know what? Scratch that number. I want you to take 500 experience points.
Woo!
Because we have just completed Segmentum second, or Secundus, or whatever. We are now, having arrived at Vitamar, transitioning, there we go, transitioning into Segmentum Tertiary, the Orcs of Vitamar.
So 550 total for the night?
Yes, 550 total. Yeah, 550 because you got 50 at the beginning.
Right.
Let's do some outro-y bits. Starting with Warner, who unfortunately we didn't get to hear your smooth, jazzy voice much tonight.
Smooth jazz, eh?
I had nothing else to go with, man. I wanted to make some sort of reference there. I hope you appreciate my attempts to be inclusive
I
here.
Yeah, tonight had a lot of the cinematic stuff with the seer, and that was interesting if confusing.
Yeah. Listen, I'm not gonna lie to you. That was my first time trying to write such a scene in quite a while, so I may have been a little rusty and not very smooth.
It's okay. Things can be a little fever dream from time to time.
That's a good way to look at that, in a very literal sense.
In any case, yeah, I had fun despite having not a whole heck of a lot to shoot at or interact with.
Oh, but let me
that's
point at
okay.
the orcs coming at you right now.
Yes, that will definitely change things. Definitely change things.
Let me.
He could
Without
have shot
putting
the Oracle.
He could have shot the Oracle. He could have.
Generally, shooting people you've just met is not considered to be
Good.
how shall we say?
Polite.
Yeah.
Polite is
had-
definitely
I-
a way to phrase it.
It's not proper decorum.
Yeah.
I had thought about saying, My apologies, but I wish to test what you are and shooting him in the face.
I don't know how that would have played out. Because obviously, one, that was not an option I had ever considered. Would these guys actively engage this guy with the intent of killing him? And then if they did, what happens next?
Is he statted?
I don't know. I don't know if that
Okay.
would work.
Because if he's not statted, he typically can't die.
Listen, yeah. I don't know what else to call it. Like, you guys definitely hit on a couple things that I hadn't really fully sketched out for this guy. Like, as a concept, a lot of things were very nebulous. Like, he was meant to be a kind of a one and done NPC, right? Like, you were supposed to meet him once, and that was about it. And some of those lines I have had written or floating in my head since the very beginning of this project, let alone show. You know, especially the "Have you come as a warrior, conqueror," or whatever the fuck it was I said. Some of those lines have been floating around for literal months.
Well,
The VOD remembers.
as a minor retcon, my character is going all in for like pistols. He's got a belt festooned with pistols.
He has
And
a
you just
bracer
gave
of
me-
pistols.
Yes, I have a brace of pistols on my belt and a pistol on my shoulder and a pistol on my hip.
Okay.
And you just gave me a point in swords.
I did not give you a point in sword, sir. You chose the sword.
Metaphorically. I was aware it was a metaphor.
Metaphors can have more direct things going with them too.
And
You
I'm just
have
saying,
chosen your path.
I chose the path of combat.
Yeah, you did.
And
you
I'm
got
saying,
a
why
combat
wouldn't-
skill upgrade.
And why wouldn't ballistic be more relevant metaphorically to my character is all I was going to ask.
I will say this. I chose the weapon skill specifically if you chose the sword. Because I felt as though you had already been leaning ballistics, that maybe putting a few points in weapon wouldn't be so bad. I hope that is an answer you can.
Right. Well, metagaming, I had thought about taking the pin because I could use a boost to intelligence. But off above the table, what would compass have boosted?
Let me tell you what compass would have boosted. I don't remember off the top of my head.
Absolutely nothing. You lose. You get nothing. Good day, sir.
I love that movie so much.
Is that the Search for the Holy Grail?
Oh, that's Willy Wonka and the
No.
Chocolate
Oh
Factory.
shit! Never mind. Don't
You
listen
get
to me.
nothing.
It definitely sounds
Gene
like something.
Wilder.
Yes, it definitely does sound, in my head at least, like something that would have been in like the Search for the Holy Grail, a choice being offered to King Arthur, and he chooses, and they're like, nope, that was a bad choice. Oh, here we go. Let's see.
For you who is so wise in the ways of
Okay,
science.
the compass. This is the note I have in here, and I'm going to read it to you exactly the way I have it written. Had you chosen the compass, there is no doubt in your mind now that the enemy you seek can only be found by defeating House Hennet and whatever they're presently trying to do against your own house. But whatever this enemy is, the very thought of them fills you with dread.
So it would have done nothing.
No, it would have confirmed that you first need to beat House Hennet and then face the true enemy.
My character didn't have any speculation about that.
Sure. So what I'm hearing is not choosing the compass was the right answer.
Yeah.
You want to know what the feather pen would have given you?
No, I was hoping a boost of intelligence.
This is what I have written here. A single word, Opha, enters your mind, and a vision of what an Opha is. Its visage is terrifying, its presence crushing, and I'm leaving out the physical description because you did not choose that item.
Uh-huh.
+5 insanity points. Hell yeah.
I didn't even think about that, actually. You should have taken +5 for if you had chosen the pen with that
Yeah,
vision.
except I'm jaded. That would be a horror and wouldn't bother me.
Okay, all right, I'll give you that one. I feel like everybody's kind of chimed in at random here. Does anybody else have anything else they want to add from tonight's episode?
I have a question. Is there like a rule that oracles have to be cryptic? Like, if one gives a straight answer, do they lose their membership?
That's a great question. And you know what? This is what I want to say. This may sound to some as a cop-out, but this was definitely the route I went with this oracle. He was not meant to give you straight definitive answers. He was meant to give you a path to walk, you to find your own answers. Now, is that a bit of a cop-out answer? Probably. But that's definitely the route I was trying to go. He wasn't going to give you straight
that sounds
answers.
like an adventure module that's very
I have
poorly
a
written.
question and a rhetorical statement.
Sure.
The rhetorical statement is, "Oofa, don't you mean oofta?" And the question is, why do the orc ships look like Gungan heads from the front?
I don't know what to tell you, except I pulled those models from Battlefleet Gothica, or something like that. These models, all of these models for the ships, both yours and the orcs, are pulled from something. It's definitely Warhammer 40K mod put together for TTS.
Am I the only
Or-
one that sees the Gungan head from the front?
Are you talking about like
No.
Star Wars Gungan head?
Yes.
I don't see that.
You have to angle the down.
Yeah,
and
if you
look
angle it just
directly-
right, it looks kind of like Crow from Mystery Science Theater 3000.
I definitely see
That
that. Crow with like some very sharp teeth jutting out from
Yeah.
his jaw. Yeah, I could definitely see Crow. But I don't see Gungans.
That said, I'm surprised they're not red because red ones go faster.
You know, that might have been a. I might have
Wait,
actually been able to.
what does, because orange is a big orky color, so what does orange do? I forget.
I don't.
I know about purple.
The only ones I know is red and purple.
I thought yellow was more DACA.
Uh-oh.
Okay, to be clear, I did not assign this ship's colors to do anything in particular because I had forgotten about that. So don't sweat. Be like, oh, yellow means more DACA. I'm fucked. I already
Oh.
have stats for these guys that we will be
Yellow is
using.
associated with wealth and explosions.
Is that the orc version of yellow, or is that everything else yellow?
Wealth and explosion.
Blue is lucky.
Yeah, blue. That sounds right. Blue is lucky.
White is fearless.
Okay.
What was checkered?
Is checkered an option for orcs? I didn't think they were that
Well,
complex.
orcs sometimes use a checkering pattern of white and black on something, but it'll have a primary color in it, like around it.
Hmm. All right.
Okay, so yellow is for explosions. That's fine. We will make them explode.
That's fair enough. All right. Well,
We will give them a wealth of damage.
theory.
Oh,
Anyway.
Yes.
I hope they're
uh,
not like the orcs in Battlefield Gothic and have like oodles of fucking boarding pods. Those things fucking suck.
like I said, I already have notes. I am using the notes on the orc ships from Rogue Trader, so that is what you'll be contesting.
Okay.
Orcs, 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 orcs,
Yeah.
orcs, orcs, orcs.
It's the orc. It's actually I think in the war or Rogue Trader book. I think it's the Orc Onslaught Raider. Is what it's called. I think. Pretty sure that's where I got that name from. But all right, any final comments before I wrap this up? Anybody?
Just one other question.
Sure.
With that Hellgun acquisition, could I get a tactical strap with it?
What does it do?
Makes it so that after I fire it, if they're getting too close and I want to pull out my pistols, I can just drop it instead of having to put it away.
Is that one of the attachments? I don't remember reading about that one.
I didn't think that
It's
was a concern.
not. It's just an RP thing,
Okay.
Yeah, I think.
so that I don't drop my gun on the ground.
Yeah, I think it's fair to assume that if you switch from one weapon to another, you can at least, for rifles or that sort of thing, that they would be slung. You could just drop them. And pistols, you can just slap back
He's
in the
asking
holster.
you not to be like, oh, well, you didn't.
No,
say
I
you
don't do
picked it
that. You
back
guys
up,
should-
so
I
I'm
don't
just
think
gonna
I
take
do-
it from you.
God, I hope I never do that. Yeah, the orc comes up because you switch weapons. He takes your rifle from you and eats it. Yeah, that's not good.
Yum.
Well,
Yum.
just
I mean,
thinking it
orcs are
out,
dumb, but-
assuming that you're wearing the gift, would you simply not lower the rifle and aim with your other hand? Or punch something?
And getting that big punchy thing.
Oh, I'm
Mine-
definitely wearing the gift,
I mean, listen, there's fucking orcs inbound. Yeah, I'm wearing the fucking gift.
but including the gift, I've got 3 pistols.
Yeah. Well, listen, if you got orcs in that close a range, you might need a punchy boy because you're about to get fucked up.
Yeah.
And I believe the orcs have a talent or trait that gives them like an additional amount of damage whenever they charge, just because they're orcs. So, all right. Anything else? Going once. Going twice. All right, we're gonna wrap it up. All right, my friends.
Sold American.
Oh, Jesus, why would you wait until I start? Everybody does that. Don't mind me. I'm waxing dramatic. All right, my friends, that is
So
it
anyway,
for us here tonight. I'm going to totally ignore Rev and continue. If you enjoyed the show, please consider smashing the buttons like, share, subscribe, and all that. Follows and subscriptions on Twitch are always appreciated as well. If you are watching live during a stream, of course, you can always ! Discord to get our Discord server where you can come hang out with us and tell me all the wonderful things I'm doing or the things I'm doing wrong. Or if you're watching on YouTube, in the video description below, you can hit the Discord link there and come and hang out on the Discord server that way. In the meantime, stay safe out there, my friends. This world is a grim, dark world, so make sure you're doing what you got to do to take care of you and yours. As for me and mine, we are out of here. See you next time. Have a good one.
See ya.
Something oracles.
I do have one other question.